What a week! Hello everyone! My name's Quinlan. And this is Melbourne Musos. And this little thing I got from dear Sly Dunbar, who has passed away on our Australia Day, 26th of January. If Rob Hurst wasn't enough, Sly Dunbar has left the building. So tonight is a little bit of a tribute to him, but it's been a crappy month. I actually just asked Google musicians who have passed away just this month alone. Tony Carr from Hot Chocolate, Johnny Legend, Rockabilly, Calbo, Arsenic, Andrew Bodnar, The Rumour, Jim McBride, country music songwriter, Guy Moon, American composer, Eson Yemenez, Colombian singer, Terry Sullivan, Renaissance. Who remembers Renaissance? All the folkies coming up in Dad's pub, new Renaissance. Bob Weir, Grateful Dead. John Forte of the Fugees and a few others. It keeps going on. Kenny Morris from Susie and the Banshees, the original guitarist. Tony Dallara, Destiny Boy. Tony Dallara, Italian singer and actor. Destiny Boy, Nigerian singer. Tucker Zimmerman, Stephen Cat Moore, Ralph Towner. One of my favourite ECM records is Ralph Towner and Jack DeJohnette, and I mentioned it just the other week, especially with Jack DeJohnette's Flat Ride. I wish I had I've had two, but my friend Kev has one of them. There you go, Ralph Towner. It keeps on going. Rob Hurst on the bottom of the page. Don't get me started, jeez. There you go from last episode. I was a mess. My apologies for last week. I was a mess last week. Yor Sarpong, Ghanaian gospel musician and writer. Francis Buchholz, Scorpions. Guy Hovis, American singer. Margaret Ross, The Cookies. Gabe Lopez, American pop rock singer, songwriter and producer. Gene Cusack, Avjit Majumdar, Lucky Widja, Sly Dunbar. There you go. It's back to 2016, the year Bowie went away, and then the rest of the year, Keith Emerson, everybody. I can't go down that track. I've got to keep it a little bit more upbeat today. Sly Dunbar, I'll read about him in a bit. I've already done a bit of an obituary, but what he did, sort of thing. King of the One Drop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All that sort of stuff. I'll show you a couple of things. The aforementioned thing that I did with the Bossa Nova was Senegal Marketplace. So you've got a typical Bossa Nova, like you got. But he did something a little bit different with it on that track. It was sort of like he just did a two feel. That kind of thing. Let me take you through it. It's like, I'll just do a straight Bossa Nova, right? So you get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It's 1 off the 3-2 clave. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. Okay? So you get ba da 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 da. But Antonio Carlos Jobim in the late 50s came up with the idea of syncopating the last note because it sounds finished. You sort of get see? sounds finished. You'd put it in if it's the end of the song, but Antonio Carlos Jobim put it in on the and after 4, so it'll be ba, 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 ba. There you go. Sly Dunbar, he'd come in with the 2 feel. I've got a little bit of a patch in there. European folk kit actually. Bell, keep it straight for now, and get it, got it, good, there you go. Wonderful stuff, there you go. One of the other things he does is, as I said, the 1 drop, which I've done. You've got the reggae bass drum, is something that I call it, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you sort of pick it up a little bit, it's like the Latin bass drum, like how many times? But take out the and 1, so you go. So. And things like that. One of the things that is also great is when you're doing things like that, the hi-hat's fantastic. Sly Dunbar had a great hi-hat kind of feel. And one of the things that he also did was left a lot of space. And one of the things is that when you're just doing the research, you know, like there was one little thing that I did or listened to was Stepping Into Darkness kind of thing. Much more of a reggae-style instrumental track. And it almost feels like he's going to do a 3-2 clave, but he doesn't. It's kind of like but it isn't. It's like and all the colour with the hi-hat, that kind of thing. So you get that kind of stuff. So it'll be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and then a little bit of a shot there. Now, because he was coming up through the 70s and all that, there were so many different bits where he had... Who remembers the Syndrome? I had a pair of them once upon a time. I gave it to my ex-brother-in-law, or gave them, 2 of them. Starts off April Sun in Cuba, if you have a close look. Like that. And it seemed to be everywhere. So you'd be doing this kind of... And he was big on the 4-stroke rough. 1, 2, 4. A rough is anything done, according to the Buddy Rich interpretation of snare drum rudiments. So if you think it's all different, take it up with Mr. Rich. But when I was coming up, I had I'll put it up here, the Buddy Rich's interpretation of snare drum rudiments, and essentially it's fairly straightforward. A rough can be many things these days. It can be, this is a rough, and this is a roll, you know. But coming up, a rough is anything done with a single stroke, and a roll, measured rolls, are anything done with a double stroke. And if they're an open roll, it's double strokes. And if they're closed rolls, they're presses. There it is. There it is. There you go. And yeah, Sly Dunbar. So on it goes. Let me read about him a little bit. Lowell Fillmore, Sly Dunbar, 10th of May 1952 to the 26th of January 2026, was a Jamaican drummer best known as one half of the prolific Jamaican rhythm section and reggae production duo Sly and Robbie. Fantastic. Life and career. Dunbar was born in Kingston, Jamaica on the 10th of May 1952. He began playing at 15 in a band called the Yard Brooms His first appearance on a recording was on the Dave and Ansel Collins album Double Barrel. I Am the Magnificent, that one. Dunbar joined a band with Ansel Collins called Skin, Flesh and Bones. Speaking on his influences, Dunbar explained, "My mentor was the drummer for the Scatterlights, Lloyd Knibb, and I used to listen a lot to the drummer for Booker T and the MGs, Al Jackson Jr., and a lot of Philadelphia. There are other drummers in Jamaica like Santa and Carly from the Wailers Band, Winston Bennett, Paul Douglas, Mikey Boo. I respect all these drummers and have learnt a lot from them. From them, I listened and created my own style. They played some things I copied, other things I recreated." In 1972, Dunbar met and became friends with Robbie Shakespeare, who was then bass guitarist for the Hippie Boys. Shakespeare recommended Dunbar to Bunny Lee as a possible session drummer for the Aggravators. Dunbar and Shakespeare decided to continue performing together. They worked with Peter Tosh and his band until 1981, recording 5 albums. Keeps on going. Dunbar and Shakespeare formed their Taxi Records label in 1980. It has seen releases from many international successful artists, including Black Uhuru, Shaka Damuz and Pliers, Ini Kamoz, Beanie Man and Red Dragon. He has played for the Aggravators, for Bunny Lee, the Upsetters, for Lee Perry. I did a show on Lee Perry a couple of years ago. The Revolutionaries for Joseph Hu Kim, and recorded for Barry O'Hare in the 90s. That only just starts it. You've got Bob Dylan, you've got Mick Jagger, Herbie Hancock, Grace Jones, Joe Cocker, Serge Gainsbourg and the Rolling Stones. Just keeps going. There you go. In 1979, Brian Eno remarked of Sly Dunbar, "So when you buy a reggae record, there's a 90% chance the drummer is Sly Dunbar. You get the impression that Sly Dunbar is chained to a studio seat somewhere in Jamaica. But in fact, what happens is that his drum tracks are so interesting they get used again and again." Dunbar died from cancer at his home in Kingston, Jamaica on the 26th of January 2026 at the age of 73. He's played with everybody and everybody loved him. There you go. 4-stroke rough. You've got beautiful things. He'd do a 4 on the floor. He wasn't always, yeah, it's like, he'd shuffle it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So on it goes. Your little offbeat. You hear that a lot. If you like the Police, Stuart Copeland loves that one. It's kind of like, walking on the moon and things like that. So you get that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you get your up, back. You get all this kind of stuff. Now, what happens is that with tempo, you can go slow and you can go fast, even with the same beat, but the mechanics of it changes, you see, the way that you do it. I've been teaching a bit of the double stroke roll this week to my poppets. They're all coming back from the holidays. And even something as simple as a double stroke roll, when you first start, they're 2 separate strokes. But as you get a bit quicker, it becomes the double tap. And there you go. It's a bit like a Venn diagram where you've got your 2 circles and you've got your slow version, you've got your fast version, and then with the Venn diagram you go in between and there's that little middle ground. If you're driving up the road in a manual car, it's easy to go, or if you're in peak hour and you're going, shall I pick 2nd gear or 3rd gear? Just that little bit where it could be either. You need a bit more traction, gear down. If you're on the level road, gear up, things like that. So when you're doing things like the reason I've got that sound, by the way, is can you hear it? there it is there, is because of the time of Sly Dunbar. I was listening, and I'm going, okay, I think I've got these sounds. European folk kid, I'll go to patch number 10. Oh, there they are. You know. That kind of Even dear Rob Hurst was talking about his parade drum as a bass drum for his backsliders when I was doing all the research for dear Rob Hurst. I'm doing a bit of a trek at the moment. I'm going to do a plug. Rock Posters, out of the goodness of their hearts, are putting up these wonderful billboards of Rob Hurst in memoriam. And they're in Sydney. There's a bunch of them here down in Melbourne. The first one I got to was Alexander Parade on the way to the Eastern Freeway. There is now one in ACDC Lane, and there is now another one in South Yarra that Marcus and I visited on our way back from the Australia Day gig. And now there's one in Brunswick Street, Fitzroy, not far from the corner of Johnson Street. And I'm going to each one. At one point I was thinking, I'm going to go up to bloody Sydney to see it, but now all of a sudden, bang, 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 bang. So his parade drum, that's where I got it from. Okay, there's the same as Rob Hurst backsliders. And then I digressed in my seniors moment, like Grandpa Simpson, back in the day, yelling at the sky in the days when we used to wear onions on our belts. Who remembers that episode? So you got this. It sounds urgent. But then that kind of stuff there. When you're getting into that, lots of rim click. And Bernard Purdy with his fingers, the old trick. Isn't that wonderful? But then, getting back to that, oh, there's such wonderful stuff. There's one that I really liked, which was really offbeat, and it was kind of like a... And it really had that kind of 70s padded down snare drum sound, you know, that kind of thing. So I got that... And it just locked in with the bass line and the whole thing. It was just wonderful. There you go. How are we going for time? We're doing all right. And what happens then is that if I go through different things, I'll just take it all the way back to really, how do you get started with reggae? This thing, where's one? What's going on? That's the big thing. And the easiest way I've been able to teach it, and especially when I had to do the 6 long years of playing Frank Zappa's music, and especially during the time when Frank Zappa went everything reggae, and I was, and that's in the time of, you could actually see the split. Terry Bozzio, all that wonderful stuff. You had Chester Thompson before him, and Ralph Humphrey for Overnight Sensation and all the classic albums. Then there was Terry Bozzio. And then when he left and Vinnie Colaiuta came in the late 70s, in particular with the Joe's Garage series, volume 1, 2 and 3, everyone was going, who is this guy? And everything was reggae. It was basically, Terry Bozzio was the end of straight, and Colaiuta was the start of reggae. And there you go. And I was going, how do I get my head around this? You know, that kind of thing. And one of the things is, I always thought of it as rock backwards. So you've got a rock beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring it back to crotchets. And Now, do you notice I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. There's an inflection of triplets there, even though I'm not really playing them. It's sort of like 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. Okay, you get that kind of a feel. Then you turn it around, and your Sly Dunbar did normal snare drums, but with reggae, rim clicks really do reign supreme. So you've got this, a 1, 2, 3, 4, a 1, 2, 3, 4, to 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Turn it around. 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, a 1 to 2 to 3, 4, a 1, 2, 3, 4 to 5. Take out the rim click. 1, 2, 3. Well, actually, 3, 4, a 1, 2, 3, 4, a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 1 drop is where you put the rim click back in, just on 3 with the bass drum. 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1 to 2, 3, 4 to 1, 2, 3, 4, a 1 to 2 to 3, 4 to 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1. There you go. One of the things that that really helped me was getting back to what I sort of said at the top end of the show, was the Latin bass drum, which I already had for all my restaurants, all those gigs, wedding receptions. They paid, you know, back in the day. Anyway, so what you'd have is you'd get that kind of boom. That kind of thing. So you get that kind of stuff, like. All those little extra sounds. So you get that kind of thing. I could put it up here. Okay, that's Latin. It's not reggae yet. So what happens is that you would take out the end 1, like I said before. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when it goes like that, take out the snares, and we're all the way back to that little first little bossa nova little thing. Although that's a 2 feel, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, when you hear it on the album, you see. So I'm really talking about Sly Dunbar. I'm talking about reggae, some of the basic techniques of reggae, how I managed to sort of get it going during the Frank Zappa business. And I'll actually put the snares back on. And one of the things that can happen, especially when you're doing the kind of reggae that Zappa was doing and Vinnie Colaiuta was playing his backside of, one of the things that worked for me, if I can do it, is you sort of get a jazz groove, get that going, and then put in a left-hand start double paradiddle. And I'll take out the patches just for a minute. For this particular thing, that probably doesn't quite work, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I'll put them back in. Okay. So that's what goes on there. Now I will start wrapping the show up. One of the things that goes on, this isn't a reggae lesson, so to speak, even though I've taught reggae. It really is a tribute to another wonderful drummer, Sly Dunbar, who has left the building on the 26th of January. Last week was a tribute to Rob Hurst, and this week is a tribute to Sly Dunbar. But I didn't want to just make it all about him, because really, with the research, oh my Lord, all the people that have, you know, in these turbulent times, and it's just amazing. We've got 2016 all over again, that kind of thing, and it's only the end of January. We haven't even hit February yet. It's terrible. And probably one of the others that is sort of close to a few people is Terry Sullivan from Renaissance. I remember that band getting a big belt back in the pub days, because they were a kind of a folk prog band coming up in the late 60s into the 70s, same time as Steel Eye Span and things like that. When I was coming up in my late teens, Susie and the Banshees with the Sex Pistols and all that. Kenny Morris was the one of the original members. And there's a lot of people probably hurting about Bob Weir of the Grateful Dead, because they're just an American institution. And that Ralph Towner hurt because it's his album that is one of my favourite cymbal sounds from Jack DeJohnette. So, Sly Dunbar. My name's Quinlan, and this is Melbourne Musos, honouring all those great musicians that I've mentioned who've gone to the great gig in the sky. And for their honour, I'm now going to have a nice glass of